In this video, I'm going to try and explain property lines and easements, and these would be for homes that are next to each other. You're going to have property lines anywhere, but you might not have an easement if your home is, if your home's on like 10 acres of land. If your home is built in a tract, their homes, are within 50 feet of each other, there's a good chance you're going to have easements and property lines. So property lines are basically the lines that separate your property from your neighbors. So these would be the surrounding lines, and sometimes these lines will go into the street a little, sometimes they will be away from the street. But most of the time it's going to be from the side of the house, will be a specific measurement, and to the back of the house. Now, an easement is a space that most planning departments require from the front of your home to the center of the street. And sometimes it might be from the front of the home to another spot. But let's just say that your easement requirement, you're going to have a minimum easement requirement. If you're going to be building a room addition, this is going to be important. You want to build a room addition on the front of your home, and the minimum easement is 30 feet, and you're at 32 feet, then you would only be able to add 2 feet onto the front of your house. This would also would affect the sides of the houses also. Back of the home, this is going to be the most common spot where someone would build a room addition or add on to their house. And again, I've seen it plenty of times where you're at the minimum and you can't build a room addition. I lived in a house where the minimum was 25 feet, and guess what? I had 25 feet to the back of the property line, or the back of the fence. So usually where your property line is where your fences are going to be built. But don't be surprised to find out that someone built your fence, someone moved it into their property. I've seen this a lot. I've seen it happen. I don't want to say a lot. I've just seen it happen when, let's just say that you and your neighbor decide to build the fence and you're going to go in halves on it, and then the person over here hires the contractor and then tells the contractor, hey, can you move the fence 1 foot into their property? Seen that before. Hope I'm not giving anybody any ideas here, but definitely seen that before. So now let's try to figure out why an easement is required. And most of the time, it's going to be for some type of an access. So let's just say, and you see this a lot, let's say that you have a house that is 5 feet away from your neighbors, 5 feet away from your property line, and then 5 feet away from your neighbor's house. This gives them 10 feet. Well, this is required so that they can get heavy equipment in to the back of the property. Some homes have utilities, your electrical, your gas, and your water. It runs along the center or close to the center of the property line. And if they ever have a problem with it, they need access somehow to get to the back area. So keep that in mind. Most easements are there for a reason. However, if you want to build a room addition on the back of your house and you only have, let's just say you have 30 feet and it's 25 feet, you want to build a room addition that's at least 10 feet, you're going to encroach into your easement by 5 feet, let's say. We have 30 feet, 25 feet is the minimum from here to the house, and you want to build a room addition that's going to be sticking out 10 feet. You can always file what's known as a variance, and a variance, you could ask your building department or the planning department about that. Some of these get quite expensive, and what this does most of the time is you submit a proposal to build a room addition, and the city planners look at it and they okay it or they deny it. I was actually on a property, did a room addition for someone, and they required 75 feet. They were on 1 acre land, and the minimum distance from the back of the house to their property line was 75 feet. And, they probably had about 400 feet in the front. And there was actually a garage built over here. And they couldn't build it, so the guy filed for a variance, and I think it was about $300 or $400. And they've got pretty pricey lately. I mean, last one I heard of was like $2,000. So depends on your area. But we actually filed the variance and got it, and of course that makes sense. 75 feet away from the back of the property to build like a 12 or 14 foot room addition on the back. I could see where somebody would give you something like that. You're probably not going to get a variance if your home is too close to each other. That's probably something you're just wasting your time, and they will probably tell you that at the planning department. So anyway, that's it. Property lines are the lines that divide your property, separate it from your neighbors, and easements are areas that are designated for a purpose. And these can come in a variety of different forms, even roads, for example.